Because Japan is in the future, the first 2 weekends of Heatwave Arena have come to a close, giving us a very early look at what some of our top Destined Rivals decks will look like. Now, I do have to point out that our Destined Rivals set will be a combination of Heatwave Arena and Japan's Glory of Team Rocket set, which isn't out until April 18th. So this is very much an early best decks preview, as there's only 63 cards in Heatwave Arena, but 100 in Team Rocket. And Destined Rivals has 182 cards in the main set once you factor in the Marnie and Steven decks. So the final list we see come May 29th on Pokemon TCG Live will look quite different, as Heatwave Arena only makes up about a third of Destined Rivals. But if I wait any longer, then I won't be able to say I told you so about Yanmega EX. First up though, Japanese players have shown that their favorite part about bread is the crust. Before I continue, this is a great time to talk about the differences between the Japanese meta and ours. You see, Pokemon TCG Live isn't available in Japan, so everyone there is happy. But it means all these tournaments use physical cards. And it's not as simple as exchanging trade credits for new cards. You have to open packs or buy singles. And the best cards cost more money, so it's not always easy getting your feet on the top tier decks right away. It's one of the reasons why wall decks tend to do well at the start of a new format in Japan. Those who can afford new cards will play them. Those who can't know that wall decks will beat them off. For Crustle, it's a stage 1 with immunity to damage from Pokemon EX. The attack is kinda meh, dealing 120 for 3 energy, which can be fulfilled with a reversal energy. On the bright side, it one-shots Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon while itself surviving a hit from Ogerpon. And Dwebble's attack immediately evolves into Crustle, meaning you can have your wall built by the end of turn 1. Looking at some of the successful lists, this one goes for 3 Luxurious Cape, boosting Crustle to 250 hit points. Yeah, it gives up an extra prize card when it's KO'd by damage, but there aren't many non-EXs who can one-shot it. Since there's no reversal energy, you will have to rely on Crispin for acceleration, but that does mean there's room for Monkey Dory. Similarly, this version pairs Crustle with Milotic EX and Farigiraf EX. Crustle is immune to damage from EXs, Milotic is immune to damage and effects from Terras, and Farigiraf is immune to damage from basic EXs, giving you a wall for most scenarios. Once again, no reversal energy means Crispin has to put in a lot of work if you want to beat decks that can bust through your walls. If you want to say screw it and only beat EX decks, this reversal energy build does just that. Crispin and Turbo Energize get energy into play, Pokevital A, the grossest card ever printed, helps heal 150 damage, and there's even a Crisis Punch to deal 280 when they have 1 prize card remaining. It's like I said, just build a wall deck at the start of a new format in Japan and you'll win games. Now, I know I teased that Yanmega EX is bad, but the only Crustle deck to finish in first place ran 3 copies plus the Dunsparce. At that point, it's more of a Yanmega deck than a Crustle deck, but this is the Crustle section of the video. So how about we switch it over to Yanmega? For 3 grass and a colorless, Yanmega EX does 210 damage. Like my dog when it got into my stash that one time, it's super hungry. Luckily, the ability is here to help. When you move Yanmega from the bench to the active spot, you can accelerate 3 grass energy from deck directly to it. While there's some definite scramble switch synergy here, the attack secondary effect is all you need. After using Jet Cyclone and dealing 210 damage, enough to one-shot Fezandipity, you send 3 of those energy to one of your bench Pokemon. Crustle just so happens to attack for 3 energy. So instead of being a loser and relying on reversal energy, now you can simply power up a Crustle with grass energy. As you can see from the list, it's not very spicy. The spice is in the strategy. You obviously want to get a Yanmega EX up and running as soon as possible. Then attack with it and send 3 energy to Crustle. That Yanmega will probably be knocked out, but that's okay. Depending on the matchup, you use Scoop Up Cyclone and Turo Scenario to get everyone not named Crustle off the field. And a Dunsparce's ability puts it back into your deck and draws you cards. So you can masterfully bait your opponent into thinking this is an attacking deck, then when it's too late for them, remove all your liabilities and only have Crustle in play. Of course, if you always cut the crust off your bread, you can pair Yanmega with Milotic EX. Typically, this deck runs Crispin to get powered up, but Yanmega offers up an alternate accelerator. I'm not quite sold on this build, and Yanmega's only had a few successes so far in Japan, but it could be a fun way to mix up how you annoy other people. Now, here's something that makes me sad. While Typhlosion has been doing well in Japan, cementing itself as the second best new Heatwave Arena deck, it's crossed over to the dark side and started following Emperor Dragapult. At first, the combo was Typhlosion with Golden Go EX. But then Japanese players realized how many more holes Dragapult has and switched. As you can see from this first place list, it's basically just Dragapult with Typhlosion instead of Dusknoir. Sparkling Crystal helps Dragapult attack out of nowhere, and Typhlosion offers up a really strong single prize attacker. Oh, and Shaman's also here, because Dragapult was almost on the verge of not being S tier, so they gave it a bench barrier basic. Anyways, why is Typhlosion so good? Similar to Crabominable, it relies on having as many copies of a certain supporter in the discard pile. This time around, if you can get 4 Ethan's Adventure in the bin, Typhlosion does 280 damage for a single fire energy. Quilava manually searches out Ethan's Adventure, and using Ethan's Adventure gets you 3 in any combination of his Pokemon and fire energy from the deck. I did temper expectations in my preview because it is a stage 2 and Crabominable is arguably better, but I didn't see the potential of pairing it with a strong EX. I especially didn't see the synergy with Golden Go. Because Ethan's Adventure gets energy from the deck, it can be a guaranteed 150 damage for Golden Go. So you swap out Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking and Energy Search Pro for Ethan's Adventure and Unfair Stamp, creating this. One of Golden Go's biggest weaknesses is how it deals with wall Pokemon. Scizor's a great option, but it does kinda rely on your opponent not knowing how to read. Typhlosion just gives you an insane single prize backup attacker who can deal up to 280 for 1 energy, without having to worry about what they are doing. Just maybe play a copy of Redeemable Ticket in your Typhlosion decks, because that's the best way to get out any prized Ethan's Adventure. That is unless you really want Daisy's help. Sticking with Ethan's Pokemon, I haven't been this disappointed in people from Japan since Shohei Ohtani didn't sign with the Blue Jays. Even though I hyped it up as a potentially amazing deck, Ethan's Magcargo has done next to nothing after 2 weeks. It has 1 4th place finish and that's about it. But instead of admitting that I may have been wrong, I'm choosing to blame Japanese players for not playing it right. Ethan's Adventure should not be in the deck, and while I understand its usefulness, Jamming Tower should be Artisan. On paper, Magcargo with Ho-Oh EX is a crazy combo. For 3 fire energy, Magcargo does 70 damage times the number of fire energy attached to it. So it's kind of like Raging Bolt, except you can only discard from yourself. Ho-Oh accelerates 2 basic fire energy from your hand to one of your benched Ethan's Pokemon. Do it twice, plus a manual attachment, Magcargo's hitting for 350. And if you're worried about retreating, Magcargo has no retreat cost if it's naked. Ironically, the worst performing list is closer to how I'd play it. I think there's too much discard, but it checks all the boxes. Earthen Vessel gets energy out of the deck early, Superior Energy Retrieval recovers it, and Shaman protects your bench Slugma. Where I imagine the issue arises is with card draw. You rely on Mew and Pheasantipede, which is fine, but they obviously become liabilities. And it is very resource intensive, requiring you to hit your vessels and retrievals at the right time, because Magcargo is discarding quite a bit of energy to take big KOs. After putting 2 seconds of thought into it, maybe Revavroom is the missing link? I'm definitely not losing hope here, I just hope things improve over the next couple of months. Because I want to escargot to the top of Master League with this thing. Just like it's one of my children, I'm massively disappointed in Ho-Oh EX with Armarouge. This is definitely something I expect to gain traction with time, but for now it's mostly finishing 3rd or 4th in tournaments, not 1st or 2nd. The combo seemed unstoppable. You use Ho-Oh to accelerate 2 fire energy to itself, which you can do once per Ho-Oh per turn, then move it around with Armarouge's ability. Chuck in Luminous Energy and a good variety of attackers like Iron Hands and Regigigas, and you have something seemingly very powerful. I mean, if a Terra Box deck featuring Lily's Clefairy can be tier 1, then this should have been close behind. Once again, I'm choosing to hate the players, not the game. Area Zero is a good card and all, but there's not enough Terras to support it. I'd much rather have Artisan or Jamming Tower. And where's the Armarouge EX, or Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, or Gouging Fire EX? This deck needs to rely on more than hitting for weakness. You need someone who can take one-shots all day. Yeah, Lily's Clefairy enables Mew to hit Raging Bolt and Dragapult for weakness, one-shotting them in the process, but what about everybody else? This 4th place list at least adds Ursaluna, but it plays Poppy? And I know I said Volcanion EX is good in basic heavy decks, and it can even attack here, but it just feels out of place. I want to be taking big KOs every turn, not doing math. I should have known something was awry when I saw people running Durant EX. Yes, it can one-shot Charizard and Garchomp under certain circumstances, but if you're putting Durant EX in your deck, you've already lost. Of course, Ho-Oh can make Raging Bolt better. Whereas Teal Mask Ogerpon only accelerates 1 energy, Ho-Oh accelerates 2. It's definitely not twice as good though, considering that 5th is the best placement it's ever had. Still, with the right list, this could at least be better than Iono's Raging Bolt EX. Out of all the new decks from Japan's Heatwave Arena, Garchomp EX has seen the most success. Even then though, it's only B tier, putting it in the same category as Typhlosion, Zacian, Flareon, and a few others. Let's face it, Garchomp was always going to be playable. For a single energy, it does 100 damage and draws you up to 6, while its second attack does 260 for 2 fighting. Okay, that's actually not great even when you factor in Gabite grabbing any Cynthia's Pokemon every turn. The game changer is Roserade. Get it in play, all of your Cynthia's Pokemon deal 30 extra damage, and it stacks. Now Garchomp can one-shot Dragapult for 2 energy with 2 Roserade in play, making it a real threat. What I didn't expect was actually attacking with Roserade. Sort of like how Zoroark plays Reversal Energy for Darmanitan, Garchomp plays Reversal Energy for Roserade. Leaf Steps only does 80 base damage, but with 3 Roserade in play that jumps to 170, enough to one-shot a Charizard or Garchomp through weakness. Or if Mimikyu's the problem, 1 Roserade is enough to beat it off. Sadly, my wacky idea of having a 400 hit point Garchomp tank a hit, then using Spiritomb to take big KOs hasn't materialized in Japan. That's likely due to the fact that Raging Bolt and its one-shot power is absolutely dominating over there, and Dragapult isn't too far behind, able to perfectly two-shot a Garchomp. For the Roserade build, you go nuts on your Garchomp and Roserade lines, hoping to deal as much damage as possible. There is a single Spiritomb and a couple of power weights, but the reason you want to survive a hit is so you can use Garchomp's second attack the next turn, not because you want to use Spiritomb. Alternatively, you can run Garchomp with Frostlass Munkidori. Garchomp hits for 100 and draws you up to 6, while Frostlass and Munkidori slowly whittle away at their lower HP Pokemon. It's definitely not as sexy as Vaporeon, but it's yet another potential partner for Frostlass if you're done annoying people with his Pathway EX. So far, only one Japanese player has been cool enough to place with a Hydrapple deck, and they finished in 3rd. As a refresher, Hydrapple is Golden Go with extra steps, but just like when I walked to my foot massage appointment, the journey is worth it. By discarding 6 basic grass energy from your hand, you one-shot your opponent's active. I thought this would be a card you play on its own, loading up on ways to get energy from deck and the discard pile. This Japanese list, however, went in a different direction. The wacky Dipplin is already an established road deck. Hydrapple evolves from Dipplin. It's a novel idea, kind of like the Da Vinci Code, but jamming Hydrapple into a Festival Grounds deck means you're subtracting in other areas. You need more grass energy as Hydrapple requires 1 and you have to discard 6. Yeah, Thwackey grabs whatever card you need turn after turn, including Max Rod. I just look at the list and become saddened by the lack of consistency. You basically have to pray to Arceus that you start Arven in an energy, otherwise you'll struggle. And don't get me started on the Dragapult matchup. So while I appreciate the effort and I will definitely try it, I'm not 100% sure this is the way Hydrapple's meant to be played. What about Misty's Gyarados? I said it would be a fun road deck, and it's barely doing that. You might notice the deck list looks a little different. That's because it didn't do anything in tournaments tracked by Limitless, so I had to dig really deep to get my feet on this. Pretty much every Gyarados deck will look the same. You fill it up with Misty's Pokemon, ways to get those Misty's Pokemon back, and that's it. The reason you need to recycle those Misty's Pokemon is because of how destructive Gyarados is. For a single water energy, Splashing Panic discards the top 7 cards of your deck, then does 70 damage for each Misty's Pokemon to start it that way. Like the first night with my ex-wife, there's no strategy here. You just gotta dive in and hope for the best. If you mill your recovery cards, you lose. If you mill your Misty's Pokemon, well, you still probably lose, just not as quickly. In terms of new decks that have done literally nothing in Japan, we have Electivire EX, Dondozo EX, and Arven's entire archetype. It's so crazy to me that Arven was the main character for a third of Scarlet and Violet, but in the card game he's by far the worst trainer. His Mabostiff EX has made everyone so soft that they have performance anxiety and haven't made it to the top 16 in any track tournament. Electivire EX could have been fine if the second attack didn't require 5 energy to do 280 damage, which now seems even worse given that Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX has the same amount of hit points and a potentially easier to launch attack. And while Dondozo does have 260 hit points, the attacks just don't cut it, as they require you to be heavily damaged or for you to damage yourself. Maybe things will change over the next 2 months for Dondozo and Electivire, but Arven is cooked beyond saving. All in all, it's looking like some of the best new decks come May 29th will be Garchomp EX, Typhlosion, and Crustle. About half of Destined Rivals will be Team Rocket's cards, so don't be surprised if we see multiple new decks when that set releases in Japan on April 18th. Until then, post in the comments on a scale of 1 to V unions how disappointed you are in Arven's cards.